What's the haps? I'm Moroka and today I want to talk about battle passes. I talked about these last year in my video Freemium Gaming and Addiction. At the time of writing I'd only really experienced one in Dauntless, but found a few examples of others. Whoo boy, oh you sweet summer child Moroka. Since then, it started to feel like every game has to have a battle pass. It could be the Beta Meinhof phenomenon, you know, that effect where you discover a new thing and then suddenly you start seeing it everywhere. I'm sure half of them already existed when I did my cursory research before, but some of them are definitely new. Yes, you, Sea of Thieves, I'm looking very pointedly at you. What happened? You're one of the good ones. Alright, capitalism, again. Looking back at that video, I started writing it from the angle of how all-consuming of our lives games have become, before choosing to focus on the gambling and addiction side of things. I'd like to revisit that original point in the new, now glaring light of battle passes. So let's dive into all their multitudinous guises, talk about why some people think they're okay, why they actually totally suck, and finally why I also think they're totally unsustainable in the long run. Let's assume you were cryogenically frozen in 2013. Right before Dota 2's The Invitational, and this is the first you're hearing of one of these newfangled battle passes. We're talking about a system of progression usually, though not exclusively, found in free-to-play games, which rewards the player with content as they level up through the system. The entire progression system is time-limited, and at the end of the season it all goes away, and they give you a whole new one to do again. Repeat ad infinitum until the game goes bust, or someone figures out something even more sinister to wring money out of people. The original was indeed the Dota 2 Invitational 2013, their annual esports tournament, and their battle pass, the Compendium, was launched alongside it to generate both tournament revenue and publicity. Since then the model has just sort of pottered along until Fortnite took off in 2018. Of course, everyone else saw someone getting filthy stinking rich and wanted in on some of that. So they copied Fortnite's monetisation model, which you will be shocked,
Well, not that shocked.
to learn was and is based on battle passes. The Dota and Fortnite passes require you to pay to access them, though some of the newer ones are either free or have a hybrid model with both free and premium options, so you can elevate yourself above the peasants who aren't paying. They also vary wildly in scale. Sea of Thieves seems to be one of the most lightweight ones, with all of the content earnable in about 24 hours or so. Psyonix reckon their Rocket League rocket passes take about 100 hours to complete. Dota 2's pass, to look at their wiki, is terrifying. There are 2,675 levels. No, I didn't stutter. And for those who make it past level 1,000, they will actually mail you a physical trophy for free. Don't worry though, you can buy 120 levels for $30, and the prizes people actually want start at only level 375. No, I don't get it either, but they made over $50 million alone from it in 2020, so maybe I'm the dummy here. So that's what they are, but what are they doing? Why, if I were a game developer, would I want a battle pass in my game? What advantages does it confer over the old way of doing things? Well, from a player engagement perspective, battle passes are incredible. Previously, you make some content for your game, you release it, everyone plays it for a bit, and then get bored and they go off and they do something else. And then you have to make more stuff to get them to come back. And in many instances, not everyone will come back. And then your game's not profitable and everyone gets made redundant. Now, the content can be a pile of stuff, but it's a drip feed, and you have to keep playing, and keep playing, and keep playing to get all the things, or everyone else will have all the things, and you won't. It's exploiting people's FOMO, fear of missing out, to keep them playing a game so they can't go and play anyone else's. If you balance and time it just right, people will be finishing the pass basically just as the next one starts. Or hey, how about you balance it so that the amount of investment required is just a bit more than the typical player plays in a given time frame. Now they'll have to play more. No one's going to leave a battle pass incomplete with just a couple of levels and all the big prizes left on it, are they? You see how this starts to get just a little bit sinister? It's still manipulating you for profit, it just looks friendlier than some of the more egregious things we've seen. Which brings us very nicely to loot boxes, and this is about the only charitable thing I'm going to have to say about battle passes. They're not loot boxes. They're not a thinly veiled gambling mechanic designed to prey on and exploit vulnerable people with addictive tendencies. That's all that can be said for it. That's how low the bar was set, and it somehow just about crawled its way over it. It's this miserable standard that had Polygon gushing about battle passes in the most brown-nosed article I've ever read. The game's method of monetization doesn't just not suck. Among free-to-play multiplayer shooters, Fortnite's Battle Pass is the best form of monetization ever. You know exactly what cosmetic items you'll receive from the very start, and everything you get is based on playing the game, not rolling some dice. I mean, sure, they're not wrong on that last part, it's just that the trade-off for that element of chance is that they want you to pledge your undying soul to them. I do also take issue with a bit about knowing what you're getting for your money. Because you don't. You don't get those things when you hand over the money. You get the opportunity to work for those things when you hand over the money. You're paying to unlock grind. They somehow managed to take one of the worst elements of games and convince people that actually not only is it good, but it is so good that you should pay money for it. You used to know what you were getting for your money. There was a hat in the shop. It had a price tag. You knew that when you paid that price, you got the hat, and you would instantly become the talk of the town because of your fancy new hat. Now, there's a hat in the shop with a price tag and a lot of small print. When you pay up, you're told that the hat is at the end of a marathon, and if you don't finish it fast enough, they're taking the hat away, so you better start running if you want your stuff. It also taps into the sunk cost fallacy to a degree too, which is something we've enjoyed talking about on the channel for years. The more time and money you put into a game, the harder it can become to quit. You're invested. Once you put up that first nominal fee, usually just low enough to be enticing, but just high enough to be worthwhile, you're obviously obliged to put in the time to unlock everything. And once you put in money and your time, you have to keep going, even if you stop having as much fun as you once did, otherwise what was it all for? And if you put in a bit more time, maybe you can unlock that hat you like and the game will be fun again. Or you could always buy a few levels, they're cheap enough, and you've come this far anyway, what would it hurt? Are you starting to see how they get you? How they manipulate you? As an aside, something else I completely loathe but don't have quite enough vitriol to make a video entirely about is the amount of time-limited items in stores now. Stores with hundreds of cosmetics, but only 5 items for sale every day, and they're different every day. Do you like that one? Quick, buy it. Don't think, just buy. Oh crap, you were planning on slowly earning some premium currency for free over a couple of months to buy something cool. You don't have it right now. Well, you can always spend real money. I mean, who knows when it will be back in the store, right? It's exploiting FOMO in the same way as Battle Passes to get you to spend money you otherwise probably wouldn't. That's what gaming as a medium has become, isn't it? Monetizing FOMO. A big part of this all ties into what I said about grind in a much broader sense last year, and to what I started to touch on in the gambling video. Everything's connected here, folks. This is that it's hugely disrespectful to your time, and by being so all-consuming, it denies us the opportunity for any other experiences. Jordan Mallory of Fanbyte, a braver soul than I, took the Fortnite Battle Pass plunge in Season 7, and came out the other side with some useful observations. First, that it takes you longer than you probably think, and that it's designed to make you spend more money. Well, of course it is. I didn't need to buy it to see that. It's designed to be longer than is reasonable so that you'll buy the extra levels at the end, and I've already pointed out as much. More importantly, he observes that it's effectively impossible to complete the Battle Pass without restructuring your life around it. If you have a job, or school, and any desire to play any other games, or pursue any other interests, it's not going to work out. You don't have to play all day, he says, but you do have to play every day. Weekly objectives account for about 3 to 6 hours of play every week for 10 weeks, which only gets you halfway. Then there's a couple of hours worth of daily objectives every day to get you the rest of the way. He estimates it's about 50 hours of play in all, though that sounds very conservative to me. And to really rub salt into the wound, he concludes that leveling the Battle Pass isn't even fun. You're dropping $10 for the opportunity to slave away for 3 months, doing tedious busy work in the hopes that you're going to get a cool outfit at the end. And the reality is that, after it all, you're probably still going to have to pay more money again to actually get it. I've started playing a game called Spellbreak lately. It's a new-ish free-to-play battle royale game from Proletariat Games. And yes, it has a Battle Pass. Of course. This is one I can absolutely analyse from my own experience with it. I made a spreadsheet and everything. How dare you assume I wouldn't? The Battle Pass requires a total of 900,000 XP to finish it. There are 3 free quests granting 15,000 XP per week. If you pay for any of the premium options, you get an extra 3 quests for a further 15,000. 30,000 per week, okay? The basic paid pass for £8 gives you a 25% boost. The £20 option gives you a 50% boost, and the insane £80 option gives you a 100% boost. The quest XP over the whole season for a free player gets you to only level 10. The basic pass to 25, the better pass to 30, and the crazy top one to 40. So on top of the quest XP, you obviously need to accrue the XP from playing. But how much? In my experience, a good match takes about 15 minutes, not including matchmaking time, and awards 1500 to 2000 XP depending on your performance. So let's call it 1750. Or 7000 per hour, assuming you're generally fairly competent and don't get too unlucky. If you're a free player, it's a little over 100 hours of play to finish the pass. 51 hours for the basic pass, 34 for the premium one, and about 13 hours for the top one. But then those hours will have a lot of overlap with doing the weekly quests, which might take you a couple of hours a week anyway. All of which is to say that in order for the pass to feel remotely balanced, you're going to have to shell out £20 in the first instance. Or you can buy the levels, obviously. Either way, they're getting your money or your time. It's your choice. The number one defense of all of this is the same defense leveled at all other purely cosmetic-based monetization systems. It's only cosmetics, you don't have to buy it. Which is feeble. It only holds as long as you look no further than the basic fact that hats don't confer any advantages, and therefore it's mechanically balanced. The fact that there is any more to it is demonstrated very simply by the fact that people buy hats. People buy enough digital hats for their digital avatars to support entire corporations. I don't know if anyone has ever told you this before, but we live in a society. Margaret Thatcher disagrees, but she's dead.
That's a pretty horrible thing to say when her funeral's going on right now.
Too bad, too bad.
Fashion, social status, and simply how others perceive us is very definitely a thing people give a shit about, both in digital and meat spaces. Hell, digitally even more so right now in a pandemic when everything is digital. Sure, maybe you have the iron willpower to play a game for years wearing the starter outfit. I genuinely know a couple of very high-level Pokemon Go players who are completely and entirely uninterested in looking unique. But I, for one, want to look cool, sexy and badass. I want to be a wine-sipping pirate cat girl from space. And the revenue driven by cosmetics says that the majority of people do too. The looking unique thing, not the space cat girl thing. Here's a fact for you. Do you know what the kids are using as an insult on the playground these days? Default. I'm going to repeat that so it sinks in. The word default has become an insult. As in someone who still plays games using the default outfit. Like a loser. Not buying virtual skins and outfits is now a mark of inferior social status. No one's being judged on whether they're good at winning the game or not. Who cares about that? It's all about looks, baby. OMG, Jacob's such a default. No wonder no one wants to be friends with him. Now let's go make a viral YouTube video about bullying defaults, lol. Go on. Go tell those kids that actually they don't have to buy the new Battle Pass because it's only cosmetic. It's not. It's a very real social status signifier. You default. I glared pointedly at Sea of Thieves at the start of this video for introducing their own Battle Pass. The honest truth is that right now it's actually one of the least egregious offenders. I got to the end, level 100, in about 2.5 weeks, and saw streamers who did it faster than that. I think it's about 24-25 hours of play, and it doesn't send you out of your way, you just generally do it while you're playing. And as the game readily encourages 3 to 4 hour play sessions by its very nature, 25 hours doesn't seem like a lot over the span of 10 weeks. And the paid premium version is easy to dismiss because the rewards are fairly underwhelming. But it also feels like they're testing the waters. With Season 1, and I do fear it could start to look more like Fortnite's Battle Pass as they continue to balance and refine it. I also said I thought Battle Passes were unsustainable. Maybe that's more of a hope or a prayer or something though, but as more new games come out with Battle Passes, and the ones that didn't have them scramble to add them with dollar signs in their eyes, every single one of those is competing with every other one for what is ostensibly a monopoly on your time. That's what they want. All of your time. All of it. No one else gets any. Time is money, friend. And they want every last bit of it. I just can't see how that can work. A system where every player is wedded to one online game to the exclusion of everything else. We're just getting started and we're already reaching a point where a new battle pass is greeted with a sigh and a rolling of the eyes. Here we go again. It's a system destined to cannibalize itself. Right now it's a model primarily associating itself with games that otherwise don't have much in the way of progression, games with discrete matches with a start and an end. It adds an extra higher level of game loop, so that there's a constant reason to come back between matches. Sea of Thieves only works because it's all cosmetics. Everything. It's Sea of Hats. But I think we'll start to see it in more games. MMOs particularly. I know Destiny 2 already has one, not that I'm clear on how it works, but it does. MMOs typically already have a level progression and a gear progression system to keep you coming back, so that extra game loop doesn't really fit into things quite as neatly, but never say never where there's money to be made. So what happens when there's one in the likes of WoW and Final Fantasy XIV, when you're trying to juggle playing Fortnite with your MMO, and actually you quite enjoy some Rocket League or whatever on the side, and all of them mandate 50 to 100 hours of your life every 3 months just to keep up with the Joneses? Whew, I'm exhausted just thinking about it. Or it could be all this ranting I'm doing. Usually, my response to anything shitty the game industry manages to produce is to advise people to avoid it, but battle passes are quite quickly becoming very pervasive. If you've managed to avoid them until now, congratulations, but you're undeniably going to start seeing more of them if you play many online games. Really, the only way to truly avoid them is to play offline games, and I still wouldn't put it past AAA publishers to somehow shoehorn them into their big annual franchises anyway. Indie games, are they safe? Yeah, I think mostly. Now if only I could find the time to play any in between completing battle passes, I might finally be able to complete Transistor. Thank you so much to my channel members, Weirta, Tulkus and Silent Evan for supporting my futile raging against the machine. If you'd like to see your name in the credits, consider becoming a channel member by hitting the join button below. Also, don't forget to leave a like if you've enjoyed this video, and if you love capitalists, please feel free to leave a dislike instead. Either way, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.